and inherently not going to bribe other parties once they are elected. We think that the opposition side of the House lack analysis in a lot of things. But first, a few points of rebuttals then. They mentioned that one of the ways that these political parties can cause by providing charity is in order to build trust. We think that building trust can be gained from other factors. And why would you want to build trust by simply providing charity? If you are a good leader to begin with, you wouldn't need certain amounts of charity to gain his trust. A good negotiator, a good future leader should be able to do it without providing extra cash. They should be able to explain their policies, explain to these people, oh, this is what I'm going to do once I lead the country, and you should vote for me because of this. They should be able to make people understand that I am the best leader for the future. I am the best political party that you should vote in the future. Instead of just providing a certain amount of cash or a certain amount of charity. Second point of rebuttal. They were mentioning about how it could increase positive image. Notice how this is unfair for the people who are going to vote and for other political parties as well. Because of these political parties and their ability to have extra cash, for example, in order to provide these charities, they're immediately going to increase positive image. And these people who are voting for these political parties, they don't know the truth behind these political parties, so it's inherently unfair. And we would like to question the opposition side of the House. They mentioned about how it could help the poor. A certain amount of charity provided by political parties are more likely targeted towards only a certain part of the community, not the wider range of the community. Because obviously these political parties, first of all, they don't have enough capabilities to provide for everyone equally. Second of all, they are more likely to provide only for the sake of the future elections. So it won't be accessible for everyone. And we think that there are already incentives provided by the government that are already able to cater for the wider range of society. And we don't understand their analysis on how it's going to help grow the economy. A certain part of charity only wouldn't simply grow the economy when there are already incentives to provide education, when they're supposed to provide policies for giving people training to improve the economy or to create bonds with international companies. These things are the things that are actually growing the economy. And we think providing charity is simply just not as effective, and it's so inefficient to their side of the House. And then, moving to a few points of my extensions from my first speaker's speech, the opposition side are probably going to say, even if they want to vote because of charity, it doesn't matter, because it's still their voices anyways. Notice how this is wrong. We have mentioned over and over again that this is not the principle of democracy. The principle of democracy is to be able to vote because these people are actually good, because they make good policies, because they promise a good future to these people. This is the principle of democracy that everyone should undermine, and a country like Indonesia, who promotes so well democracy, should be able to cater to that idea of democracy. So to say that voting because they provide charity is simply okay, no, it's not okay, because how are we going to change as a nation if everyone keeps voting just because of the charity and not because people are actually educated and have the mental capacity to understand what is good and what is bad and what is there to vote and what is there to not vote from a certain party or a certain person in the political party. Second point of extension then, why is it more likely that these political parties are not going to do what they promise, not going to do the same amount of charity once they are already elected? And why is this inherently harmful? Yes, these political parties, it's easy for them to say, I'm going to give you these clothes, I'm going to give you this charity, I'm going to give you stickers, because, well, I'm such a good person. We're such a good political party, because we truly care about society. But then, how is anyone going to assure that once they have been voted and once they have been elected, for example, they're going to do the exact thing as they promised? During the election process, or during the voting process, obviously the main goal of these political parties is simply to gain love from people. It's simply to gain love, and it's trying to win the hearts of many people. But notice how this is their own money, and that this used to be their only focus. Once they have been elected, their focus will be shifted, which was once to just gain people's hearts, but then they're gonna have to try to gain the trust of like bigger companies. They're gonna have to create bonds with international companies. And we think that if their only capability is to gain trust from the people, but not showing like further measures and like providing enough work to create a good like diplomatic like bond with other parties, then we don't think he or she is going to do anything impeccable once they have reached or become or win the election process. Second point why this is bad, right? Again, once they win, they would have many more interests. Their interests wouldn't just to please people's hearts, which was once their interest, once they were when they were ruling for when they were trying to rule for the government, and this is not going to be their main interest. And then the next point of extension is a bit of like a worst case and best case comparison. What is the worst case from our side of the house? The worst case from our side of the house is that there will be no charity from these political parties, and that the only way to promote, and then some people wouldn't be able to access these ways of promoting policies, because some people actually probably only knows these policies because they're giving out charities. That is the worst case side from our side of the house. It is okay first to trade the excitement of voting, because the election process is something serious that determines the Indonesian future. So we think that it's okay if some people aren't as excited. Oh, they're not going to give me anything. Why would I care so much about the election process? We think that it's okay if they think this way, because it should be something serious and should be something that they think thoroughly without just, they're giving me charity. I'm so excited to vote in the election process. Second point that why our worst case still wins from your best case. There are already other ways for people to find out about these political parties. There are already social media. And again, if you were a good leader, if you were a good negotiator to begin with, if you're a good political party to begin with, you would be able to win people's hearts without giving out charity. You would be able to win people's hearts just because you have such good policy that you're able to do that. And like gaining trust and charity wouldn't be only for you to gain trust from these people, right? And then what if there are no more charities for people? There are already government subsidies providing more impactfully towards these people, and there are already other charities provided by many other bodies. Let's compare that to their best case scenario. Their best case scenario is that these political parties are going to be able to engage better because, well, they get to do their campaigns while providing charity. Their vote, firstly, this is wrong because the people's votes are only influenced by outside factors. This is always wrong because this is not the principle of democracy, which has been tackled by our first speaker from the speech. And then secondly, it is unlikely that the engagements are meaningful, because if these candidates are already using charity to bribe, how are you sure that they're going to rule truly once they have been elected? From those reasons, we're proud to propose.